Well, hello everybody. It is time once again for my top 10 favorite movies of the year. I finally have the list put together, but if you ask me again tomorrow, I will probably give you a completely different list. Except number 1, I feel pretty confident about that. As always, this list is purely my own personal opinion and is not intended in any way to be objective, because that's not how criticism works. If you have a problem with this, you must be new here. Welcome. Now get out. And please keep in mind, I can only rate movies that I have actually seen, and I don't have time to see everything. So if your favorite movie did not end up on this list, there's a chance I just haven't had a chance to see it yet. Anyway, let's get down to it. These are my top 10 favorite movies from 2018. Number 10, Incredibles 2. Finally, the long-awaited sequel to the only good Fantastic Four movie ever made. Was it as good as its predecessor? Not quite, especially if you're an epileptic, and boy did Disney screw the pooch on that one. But it was still a lot of fun. Stellar animation, epilepsy triggers notwithstanding, outstanding performances from the cast, thrilling action sequences, and I really liked the aspiring superheroes, especially Void. Bringing Elastigirl into the spotlight this time around was a smart move, though making Mr. Incredible a stay-at-home dad wasn't really as weird as the movie made it out to be. What makes this family weird by today's standards is having a stay-at-home parent at all. Although finding a nanny who could handle Jack would be difficult. Speaking of which, his fight with the raccoon was worth the price of admission alone. Number 9. Mission Impossible Fallout. Mission Impossible got off to a rocky start, but ever since MI3, it's been one of the better action movie franchises. And Fallout continues that tradition, and is also the franchise's first direct sequel. It has some fast-paced and hard-hitting action sequences, beautiful locales, and plenty of twists and turns in the story. Although maybe they got a little bit too twist-happy, but still, it was fun. And I am still amazed at what Tom Cruise is willing to do and what the producers are willing to let him do. I know he broke his ankle while filming, but considering some of the stunt work he did, I'm amazed a broken ankle is as bad as it got. The bit with Ethan's estranged wife was kind of pointless, and if they were going to go through the trouble of bringing Michelle Monaghan back, I kind of wish they had done more with her. But otherwise, this was solid and possibly the best Mission Impossible movie to date. Number 8. Bumblebee. Who would have thought there would come a day where I would have a Transformers movie in my top 10? I still can't believe I'm saying this, but Bumblebee was really good. They finally made a good Transformers movie. And it only took them 7 fucking tries. It opens with this big battle on Cybertron, and there are multiple Autobots and Decepticons, and I can actually tell them apart. And Haley Steinfeld was basically everything Shia LaBeouf was not. She's actually likable and sympathetic and, not annoying as shit. And her relationship with Bumblebee was totes adorbs. And I know I am way too old to say totes adorbs, but I don't care because they were, damn it. And yes, they did go with the Bumblebee can't speak thing again, but this time it actually kind of worked. It didn't feel like just a stupid gimmick, it actually had some charm to it. And based on how the movie ended, this is apparently a reboot. I am okay with that. Number 7. A Quiet Place. This was a very interesting concept for a horror movie, and indeed for a movie in general, considering most of the dialogue was in ASL. And the tension was palpable, especially during the birth scene. Holy shit. What really made this work was the cast. They all worked very well together. Millicent Simmons was especially impressive, as was John Krasinski, both in front of and behind the camera. Number 6. Teen Titans Go! To the movies. This is probably the biggest surprise of the year for me, even more so than Bumblebee actually being good. I was not expecting much from a movie based on a 15-minute children's cartoon, but what I got was basically Deadpool for kids. And as someone who likes Deadpool and is basically a big kid, this was perfect. But don't call him Deadpool. His name is not Deadpool, it's Slade. It was funny, it was exciting, and I still cannot believe they had the balls to do that Crime Alley bit. That just, wow. And arguably the best Stan Lee cameo ever. God rest his soul. Number 5. Halloween. I wasn't expecting much from this one either, but I cannot come to any conclusion other than they finally made a good Halloween sequel. Only took them 10 tries. That's more tries than it took to make a good Transformers movie. It's basically a cross between Halloween and Terminator 2, and it's awesome. Sometimes funny, other times scary, great cast, Jamie Lee Curtis killed it. Or did she? And I was pretty much on the edge of my seat for the entire third act. Loved it. Number 4. Annihilation. I am blown away by how this movie managed to combine the beautiful and the disturbing. Two things that normally don't go together, but somehow Alex Garland pulled it off. And to live in his mind for just one day would probably give me nightmares for the rest of my life. And I mean that as a compliment. Visually, I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this. And it certainly doesn't hurt that it had a stellar cast. Natalie Portman, Tessa Thompson, Gina Rodriguez, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Oscar Isaac. But even though I'm putting this movie in my top 10, I kinda hate it because I can never look at bears the same way again. Those of you who have seen this movie know exactly what I'm talking about. Those of you who have not, when you do, wear your shitting pants. Because when that bear shows up, you will thank the good Lord above that you wore your shitting pants. And this movie fills the usual box office bomb slot in my top 10 because apparently nobody saw it. And that is a damn shame. Number 3. Searching. So here's the thing. Most found footage movies suck. Hell, I dedicated an entire episode of my show solely to pointing out just how much found footage movies suck. And I did so as someone who is genuinely a fan of the found footage concept. But even I know most of these movies usually suck. And at this point, so do most people. So to even consider making such a movie in 2018 takes huge fucking balls. And I am so glad the people behind Searching had those balls because this was excellent. I don't want to say it was a new approach to found footage necessarily because Unfriended did something similar, but it took what Unfriended did and did it right. The story was fantastic, John Cho and Michelle Law did a great job telling it, and I am still blown away by what they were able to do on an emotional level in the opening montage with just a calendar. Nothing short of brilliance. Number 2. Black Panther. Armor-plated battle rhinos. Need I say more? Okay, fine, I will. This may very well be the best MCU movie to date. The world of Wakanda was visually breathtaking, killer soundtrack, so many interesting characters that I want to see more of in the future, and I did not see nearly enough of them in Infinity War. More Okoye, more M'Baku, more Shuri, just more of all of this, please. This right here is now the gold standard for superhero movies. At least that's what I thought at the time, but something happened in December. But before we get to that, some honorable mentions. Creed 2. This was pretty good, but a bit of a step back from its predecessor. Adonis Creed seemed to be the least interesting character in his own movie, mainly because the movie didn't seem all that interested in him. Even when it gave him a powerful moment, like his and Bianca's child being born deaf, it just kind of forgot about that and moved on. I was far more invested in the story of Rocky's relationship, or lack thereof, with his son, and Ivan Drago's relationship with his. Hell, the Dragos were probably the most compelling characters in the film. But the performances were solid, the fights were brutal, and the story was pretty good overall, albeit a bit predictable. Ralph Breaks the Internet. Another sequel that I enjoyed very much, but not as much as the original. I'm seeing a pattern here. And part of that may be due to the lack of nostalgia this time around. Wreck-It Ralph was basically my childhood on the big screen. Ralph Breaks the Internet was basically my adult life on the big screen, and that's not nearly as charming, let me tell you. But I did love the evolution of Ralph and Vanellope's relationship. The jokes landed more often than not, although some of the internet jokes were not exactly original. And it was fun playing another game of Spot the Reference. But I must ask, how was this movie not called Ralph Wrecks the Internet? I mean, come on, Aquaman. This was easily the second best DCEU movie so far. And if I have to tell you what number 1 is, get out. Get out right now. It was big and dumb and loud, and Amber Heard's wig was just, ugh. There are no words except why. But it also created an amazing underwater world that was just downright gorgeous to look at. And above all, it wasn't afraid to have fun. And thus, so did I. Well, we've put this off long enough. Let's get to it. My number 1 movie of 2018. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. That's right, I'm naming an animated superhero movie as my #1 movie of the year. What of it? You got a problem with cartoons? This movie just brought me so much joy. The various incarnations of Spider-Man were fantastic, the animation was gorgeous, the action sequences were off the charts, and I love the message that anyone can be a hero. It doesn't matter who you are, old, young, man, woman, black, white, black and white, anyone can wear the mask. Yes, even a cartoon pig. I'm guessing this will not be up for a lot of Oscars, except Best Animated Feature, which it will win if there is any justice in this world, but I'm not holding my breath on it being nominated for Best Picture. But that's okay. The Academy can do whatever the hell it wants. I know what movie I most enjoyed in 2018, and that was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And there you have it, my top 10 movies of 2018. And now you may feel free to tell me what a complete hack I am in the comments below. And keep an eye on this channel because in addition to talking about the good, I also have to look at the bad. Next time.